Guys, listen, I know this is somewhat of a slow week for radio, but we still, as Larry Elder would say, have a country to save. Oh, and check out his show today. It was fabulous. And it's not just because I was on it. Larry is fabulous. But we still have a country to save. And for me, I appreciate the sacrifice of Christ. I appreciate the birth of Christ. Actually, we'll celebrate the sacrifice in Easter, the death, burial, resurrection. But I appreciate the birth of Christ. I appreciate it especially because I feel like God gave me purpose. And just like he gave many of you in the listening audience purpose. And my purpose here is to fight for this country. Specifically, it's to restore Judeo-Christian values. That's what I would like to do, to restore our Constitution. That's what I want to do. Restore the middle class. Those are the fights that I like fighting. Those are the fights that I like fighting. I was sitting here thinking, Carl, should you be calm it down a little bit? You know, what did you do for Christmas? What did you eat? All that kind of stuff. Man, no, here's where I want to start. And we got a lot that we're going to cover. Oh, my God. The news is just cray. Marine drill instructors may go gender neutral. That's a story that I'll get to. Hat tip forgotten. Man, I hadn't even seen that story. But we're going to talk about the things that have transpired through the year that you've endured. More is going to be coming. I want to talk about some absurdities of the McConnell-Schumer omnibus spending bill. I know a lot of people this is kind of dead and gone, I guess. No, we shouldn't let Republicans get away with it. As a matter of fact, the theme for this hour will be Republicans aren't coming to your rescue. I want you to hear that. Republicans aren't coming to your rescue. It's a wise lesson I think we all need to learn. The second hour, you're going to want to tune in. The Director of Tech Policy at the Heritage Foundation, Kara Frederick, is going to be joining us to be talking about the latest on the Twitter files, the latest Twitter dump, if you will, and all that encompasses. We're going to be talking about what's happening on the border as well, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. This ABC News producer, Dax Tahara, dies suddenly of a heart attack. I want to talk about that. Oh, and by the way, estimates, China is losing 5,000 people a day. So we're going to talk about this and more, all right? So I appreciate you tuning in again to the Officer Tatum Show. And the number to call in again, 844-900-7243, 844-900-7243. Before I make my case that the Republican Party is not coming to your rescue and what we need to do about it, I want to talk to you, or actually I want you to listen to a piece of audio clip. This is from Fox News reporting that it's basically the worst contradictions of 2022 from the Biden White House. And I want you to hear it before we go into this theme for this hour. Republicans aren't coming to your rescue. Audio clip number 4, por favor, Sean.
When the president knew or didn't know, he spoke. I know he spoke to that himself, so I'm going to let that stand. I am saying that we have been working on this. We, as a whole of government approach, have been working on this since the recall, which was in February. The president is indeed involved directly, but I don't want to get into details at this time, but he has been involved. And we have said, the president has been directly involved. He's been in touch. I said, this is the third time I'm saying he's been directly involved.
Can you talk about what the holdup is, Mr. President?
I can't because it's the middle of negotiations still. But
have you been in touch with the parties again?
My team has been in touch with all the parties, in rooms with the parties, and I have not directly engaged yet because they're still talking.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape.
Here we are going into the third year of it, and we are still in the middle of a pandemic. Wear a mask where appropriate in indoor settings when you have a crowded situation.
All right, that is the Biden administration. Fascist Fauci, you just saw there. Joe Biden, the selected president of the United States. We also now have a selected governor of Arizona. The governor-select is Katie Hobbs. Guys, listen, here's what I did over the weekend. All right, because listen, I'm a political nerd. So I enjoyed my Christmas, no doubt about it, with my family. But I also took the time to do my civic duty, and I went to court. Carl, what do you mean I went to court? Well, I watched the Kari Lake trial, the reruns, if you will. Guys, she won. She won. The evidence was so freaking overwhelming. It was unbelievable to me. And Carl, you're just saying that. Of course, you're going to say Kari Lake won. No, guys, the from chain of custody to the 19-inch ballots, if you will, being printed on 20-inch paper, causing disruptions, causing mass backups where people were leaving the scene. Did the attorneys argue it correctly? Listen, I don't know. I heard Kurt Schlichter earlier sitting in for Dr. Gulka, and he talked about the procedure and the process and how he knew that Kari Lake was going to lose because of the procedure. Jennifer Van Laar wrote a column, and perhaps we'll have to get her on this week. The damage that RNC chair Ronna McDaniel did. I don't understand why the hell we weren't in swing states fighting like hell to make sure Democrats couldn't cheat. I just, seriously, it's beyond me. It goes beyond me. This is just one more thing that you're having to endure. And I want you to understand, again, Republicans are not coming to your rescue. Very, very important. Just consider some of the stuff that you've endured. Beyond just learning that you now have Katie Hobbs as the governor-select of Arizona. Arizona, brace yourself. I hope you don't become like California, or perhaps in some parts you may need to become like California to get a wake-up call. Republicans, you guys better get to work in the state of Arizona. Makes no freaking sense that you have a Republican governor and you had such a bad economy, bad policy under Joe Biden, and then you let this person, after we saw what happened in 2020, you let Katie Hobbs come in to run the election process, malfunctions on election day when you knew conservatives were going to show up. It's astounding to me. Serious crimes got a free pass this year. We've seen crime rise like nobody's business, especially in our blue cities. We see illegal immigrants to this day invading our country. It's insane. Record national debt, inflation. We did have some good news. Roe was overturned. A lot of people argued that Roe is the reason why we did so poorly in the midterm elections. No, it's not. No, it's not. That is a fallacy. The reason why we did so poorly in the midterm elections is because our leadership stinks. The Republican Party will not win elections until Mitch McConnell loses his election. So we've had some good times. Thank God Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. I don't know how to feel about that sometimes, except that I'm happy with what he's unleashing.